Hello, everybody, and welcome to Kyrus Has Friends, the show where I sit down with the people that matter to me the most, and those people are my friends. Before we get started with our special guest today, if you want more Kyrus for some reason, you can follow me on my favorite social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Vibe with Kai. You can also follow me on TikTok and on Twitter, TikTok and Snapchat at Kyrus Keenan. If TikTok is still around by the time this thing airs, who knows at this point? You can follow me there at Kyrus Keenan. And then you can visit my website at thevibewithkai.com, where I'm always posting videos and blogs and things that'll help you do good, feel good, be good, and live a good life full of good vibes. But enough about me. Enough about me and my websites. Enough about me and my social media platforms and all that nonsense. I'm sitting here with one of my TikTok buddies, one of my friends. Somebody that without the TikTok, I don't know if we would have ever crossed paths. And that thought makes me sad. But thankfully TikTok is here and I'm able to sit and talk with, okay, I'm gonna say it right, with my friend Candice, La Huerita 70.
Perfect. You did it. That's perfect. That's
perfect. Well, that's all we have time for. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
That was great. Thanks so much. So glad I could be here.
Candice, what's going on? Happy 2020.
Happy 2020. It's been a year. Right?
It has been a year, but you know what? We're here. We're smiling. We're breathing. We're all doing our thing. So before we get into your story, I do want to ask you. This is just my normal check-in to see how you're doing. How is pandemic life going for you?
It's I kind of low-key enjoy being quarantined.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I totally get that. I get that.
It is actually going well. Mexico is taking a lot of good steps when it comes to being out in public and things like that. I was originally in the States when everything kind of blew up with the pandemic. I was visiting my family, and so I thankfully got to be quarantined with my mother, which was the best thing that could have happened.
Sure.
But when we came back, it is a little bit like the States, where there are some people that are taking it serious and others that are not. And so you do have kind of a mix of that going on, but it is all around us. And businesses here are really doing a great job at limiting exposure and everything like that. So far so good.
So for those of you that kind of caught on there, so Candice is not in the United States at the moment. She is down in Mexico, which I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the pandemic is not just a United States problem. It is a world problem. It is a pandemic. It is worldwide. So down in Mexico now where you are, is that considered, like the part where you live, is that considered like a hot spot as well? Like, did you guys have like a really bad problem with it, or is it kind of just more or less under control?
No, so where we are is not considered a hot spot. Okay. The capital city of our state, which is ironically Puebla, it's the same as the name of the state itself, which is Puebla. They initially had a large number of cases because they had a lot of people who had traveled into the United States, specifically Colorado, for skiing and things like that. And so
it's our fault. You're saying it's our fault.
Maybe just a little bit. No. But so when it blew up in our state in particular, now it is blown up in different states in Mexico for different reasons. But when it blew up in our state in particular, that was the driving force behind it.
Right.
And we're very close to Mexico City, and Mexico City is huge, and it has a huge international community, a lot of international travel, and so that definitely, our closeness to Mexico City definitely set that off as well. But where we are is a very small town in our state, and so it hasn't affected our small towns as rapidly or as badly as the bigger cities here. Yeah.
Sure, I got you. So it's funny because every time that you come into one of my lives or I go into one of yours, I want to come visit. I've never been to Mexico. I want to come and see. I want to see Mexico. I want to see what it's like. If I were to, let's just say I would come down there next weekend, what would be like the thing that you'd be like, okay, this is what you have to do?
Oh, I would take you out in the campo, which is the fields.
Yeah, I was like, what is that? I don't know. No habla español.
I'm so used to calling it the Campo because where I am is not a huge tourist area.
Okay.
It's not. I'm the only American in my town, and pretty much
Yeah.
for all the little towns around us.
Right.
But I would take you out
Yes.
and show you the beautiful. I want to say beautifulness, but that's not a word. So
it is now. It is now.
Yeah, the beautifulness that is my rancho. No, I would definitely introduce you to all of the wonderful people here. You'd get to eat some amazing food, and when I say amazing, I mean amazing. Mexican food in the United States is not
Taco Bell. Taco Bell's not cutting it.
No,
No?
they're not even in the same category.
Man, I've been lied to for 33 years of my life. I thought Taco Bell was authentic. You're saying it's not?
Taco Bell is not authentic. No.
What?
But that's what I do. You know, we do have some beautiful sites around here. There are volcanoes in Puebla in particular.
Actual volcanoes, like
actual volcanoes. Yes.
Oh man. Oh gosh. Okay.
Just a lot of I think a lot of things that when you think of Mexico and vacationing in Mexico, you would see a lot of things that I think the majority of people who vacation here don't get to see.
That's fair. Okay, I'm in. All right, I'm on my way down. Let's go. Now, wait, are the borders closed? Did you guys kick the Americans out? Like, as in, like, are we allowed to even cross over right now?
You're not. No. Yeah. So Mexico did. I was actually talking to one of my followers who was going to come down and meet a grandchild of hers because her son lives here with his wife. And what she said was that Mexico has restricted it to, you have to prove that you live in Mexico in order to come back in, or you have to have a surgery scheduled. But other than that, you're not allowed to come into Mexico, which is huge for Mexico because, tourism is one of the main profits for Mexico. So it's a big deal that they closed it. But yeah, they were like, no, we're done.
Wow, you guys are done with us. Well, we're done with you.
We're like, we need you guys to get your stuff under control, and then you can come and
listen. Let me tell you, it is Florida and Texas and Arizona. We need and even California at this point. But where I live up in New Jersey, like the Northeast part. We're good. We're doing our due diligence. But Florida, if anybody from here is listening from Florida right now, get your life, because I'm trying to go down to Mexico. I'm trying to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm from Utah, and I have a little sister in Nevada, and both of those states aren't doing well either. So I think I don't know what's happening, but
I know it's just the United States is we're just in trouble. That's all. That's all it is. That's what's happening.
Wear your masks, everybody. Wear your masks.
Wear your masks.
Important, please.
Just wear your masks. Just please wear them. But with that being said, there is a reason that you are down in Mexico and not in the United States. And I've heard you tell this story before, but there might be people listening right now that are not familiar with who you are and your story. So if you don't mind, could you tell people watching right now why you are in Mexico and not in Utah?
Yes. So I have lived in Mexico for 3 years. And in 2016, my husband was picked up by local law enforcement, and he was then set for deportation. And so a little over a year later, he was deported. And at the time, it was myself and my older son, Diego, who's 10 now, but he was 6 when this all went down, essentially. And so when he was deported, we made the decision to move down here to be with him because neither one of us wanted our family to be separated and broken. And so we made the decision to essentially jump ship, and that's what we did. We jumped ship.
That's fair. And I'm sure now, like, given how things are with the pandemic and closed borders and all of that, like I'm sure you're looking back, you're like, oh, I made the right decision.
A little bit, yeah. Well, I do. I have a lot of people ask me that. They're like, I've been asked, do you ever regret the decision that you made? And my answer to this is always absolutely not, because we now have another son, our second son, who is just a little over a year. And had I not jumped ship, this beautiful little boy wouldn't be in existence. And
Yeah.
so I will
Oh,
never
that's
regret the
amazing.
decision that I made.
That's
to come down
amazing.
here.
And so life down in Mexico, was it a big adjustment for you? Like when you got down there, was it like just like, okay, I need to figure this out, or did you have like a general idea as to what you were like walking into, or was it just like a huge shift?
Well, so it was a huge shift, but I still had a general idea. So what
Sure.
happened was when they actually deported my husband and you know, took him to the border, and that he traveled. It took, I think, 4 days total for him to travel from the border to his home state, which is where we are. And so on the 5th day, so he had been home for, I think, 1 day, we flew in, my son and I, for 2 weeks, and we it was the first time I had even been out of the country.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
I was never a world traveler. It was the first time I'd ever even been out of the country. But I came down for 2 weeks. I got to meet all of my husband's family here, which I had never been able to do before. My son had never met his grandmother here. And so I got an idea of what life was like. And then 3 months after that is when we made like the official move down here.
Yeah. Wow.
It was still a very big adjustment.
Yeah.
Because we're not in a city, and so the cities in Mexico are a little bit more like what you would expect in the United States.
Sure.
But the ranchos, which are the little ranch towns, so everybody around here farms, and it's just, you know, basically it's all farmers and all of that. And so these towns down here don't have as many conveniences as the cities, or even the not even close to the US. And so there's a lot of adjustments in just what you do on a day-to-day basis, how you clean your house, you know, how your water works down here, how the trash works, just all of it. It's drastically different than the States. So it took I think about a month for me to kind of get into a groove and get used to how things worked.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine, you know, just like the ideology shift that kind of happens there. But like you said, to your point, I mean, it's all worth it, right? You know, because like you get to spend time with your family, you have, you know, another child, you know, because of this, and that's like a beautiful thing. So you're fluent in Spanish now, right?
No.
No.
No, my Spanish has all essentially been learned conversational. Okay, basically via my husband. Now my husband can understand everything that I say, and he can decipher through my what a lot of people will call Spanglish, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't feel like my Spanish is fluent, so I still have to use my translator when it comes to things like medical terms, legal terms, things like that, right? I get tripped up a lot. Also, if you put me in a room with my husband and all of his family, I can barely keep up. But they speak very fast too. So
that's what, now down in Mexico, like kind of like in the United States, where everybody has like a different, I guess, like accent and dialect, and, you know, depending on where you are. Is it the same thing down there? Like depending on where you are, like the Spanish is a little bit different?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh man.
But I've been with, my husband and I have been together for 13 years. And so I am so used to my husband's Spanish and speaking to him that I haven't quite gotten to the point where I can decipher between different dialects, I guess.
Sure.
So, but my husband claims that there are, and I know that some people will speak quicker than other people, and they have different accents and things like that. Absolutely.
Right. So let's just say that Kyrus Keenan Westcott comes up with this brilliant cure to COVID-19, because I'm working on it. Okay, people, I'm working on it.
I figured you were. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I have my notepad and my water, and I'm writing things down, some ideas on how to cure it, right? So let's just say that things happen and I cure this whole thing, and borders open back up, everything's all hunky-dory, everything is back to normal, right?
Right.
What would be the first place, like if you were to come back to the United States, what would be the first place that you would go and visit?
My mother.
Yeah. And she's in Utah?
Yeah, she's in Utah. Yeah, it would be my mother. It's hard because it's kind of a toss up between my mother and my sisters, and my best friend.
Right.
So I'm kind of, you know.
And your sister's in Nevada?
Yes. Yep. Okay. And I usually fly into Nevada actually, because it's typically cheaper to fly into a bigger airport like that.
Sure.
Yeah. But
is there any place in the United States that you haven't been that you've always wanted to go?
oh, that's a really good question.
Thank
Actually,
you.
because I'm such a big Eagles fan, I've always wanted to go to Philly, and I've never been able to. So I know, Kai, I know we talk about this all the time, and this is why I tell you that Gia is my favorite. Kai has left because I'm an Eagles fan. I know. Don't put the Cowboys jersey on. Kai, why would you do that? You said this was going to be a nice, easy interview.
I'm sorry. You were saying? You were saying? I'm sorry. You kind of broke up a little bit there, and I had to go get a better signal. So I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Gia, I want to talk to Gia.
Well, listen. I live in South Jersey. I'm like literally like I can see the Philadelphia skyline from where I live, and
I'm really jealous.
It's like I'm Philly everything except for football. I'm Philly everything except for football. I am a diehard Boys fan.
I know, and the worst part of that is that out of all of the teams that you could pick other than the Eagles, you picked the Cowboys.
Yes.
Out of all of them, Kai.
Yes, I know. I went to last season. You remember when people were allowed to go to sporting events? Remember those days?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, those are way back in the day. So last year I went to the Eagles game when they played the Cowboys. The game did not work out in the Cowboys' favor, but that's neither here nor there. And okay, I went there, and it was awful, Candice. It was awful. I was tailgating with some friends, and like I was wearing my jersey, obviously. And like once walking through the tailgate was like awful, but once I was at my friends' area where like they were like ribbing me, but it was no big deal. Like it was fine. Like they're all because we're all friends. Right? But let me tell you, when it was time to walk to the stadium, walking from the parking lot to the actual stadium was one of the most scary, horrific, like moments of my life because Eagles fans are relentless.
They really are.
Relentless.
And I don't excuse that behavior, by the way. I fully understand that Eagles fans are
like people that don't know me, like I understand like go Eagles, like that's fine, right? But like people were like getting in my face being like, F you, go the F home. What are you doing here? Like in my face. I'm like, I don't know you. I'm not even talking trash right now. I just want to go watch a football game. The people were like yelling at me as if I like ran over their pet dog. It was awful.
Yikes. Yeah, I can't imagine wearing a Dallas Cowboys jersey in Philly.
Ever. I wore it proud. I wore it loud and proud though, and luckily we had box seats, so like nobody in the stands was like bothering.
So nobody threw beers at you or anything like that. That's good because I thought that's where this was going, and I was
no.
If I was, I don't condone any of that behavior. By the way, I just want to make that clear.
If I was sitting in the stands, I would have. Like I don't know if I would have lasted the whole game, especially because the Eagles were winning.
Yeah.
It was not good. But anyway, so you would come to Philly?
Yes, I would come to Philly, but not just for my to be a fangirl, but I would for food. Yeah. What?
And
I don't.
And to see me.
I don't. Oh, so I'm sorry. And if I was gonna come and see you, I'd come to Jersey. Come on.
Yeah, but I'm like right outside. I'm right outside of Philly. I can get to Center City, Philadelphia in like 10 minutes, not even. And that's with traffic. So
yes, I would come to see you. Absolutely. I'm so sorry. I was like, I don't know. I'd get glasses. Like, what would I do?
I'd get a hat.
I'm like, I'm just thinking about food, Kai.
I'd get a 5 o'clock shadow. What are you trying to say? I don't understand.
I don't know.
The food here, man, Candice, the food here. Well, let me tell you, it's not healthy by any means.
No, I don't. No, I don't care about that.
Ooh, so you've never been to Philly?
I've never been to Philly, no.
So what made you a Philadelphia Eagles fan?
Well, my best friend in high school was a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and my household was never a football household.
Okay.
And so I watched a lot of games with her, and she taught me a lot about football more than I knew, and because she was an Eagles fan, I became an Eagles fan, and that's who I learned off of. And then I stuck with them all of those years because we didn't get a Super Bowl for
you're closer to Dallas than Philly, right?
I understand that. Actually, my mother was born in Texas, and I have roots in Texas, but I still am not a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Fine, I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide this time, but just know that you're always welcome to come to the winning side if you want.
Okay.
So you would go visit Utah, Nevada. You would come eat delicious junk food with me here in Philly. What about down in Mexico? Are there any places in Mexico that you haven't been that you've always wanted to go?
Yes. Puerto Vallarta.
I know that place. I don't know that place. I don't know.
Up in the Yucatan Peninsula. I can't say the word because I'm too nervous.
Oh my gosh! Stop it. You're fine.
Peninsula. Thank you. It's up in that. There's like there's the city of and now I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I want to visit all of Mexico. Being here, I have not been able to visit any of the beaches, which I feel is a crime.
How close do you live to a beach?
I am probably about a 10-hour drive away. Yeah, and so we haven't ever been able to venture out there.
Yeah, that's not. I live maybe low lie, probably like 30 minutes from a beach, and it's beautiful. I love it. In fact, I might go to the beach today.
Another reason to visit Caen.
I know. Listen, Jersey Shore. There's so much to do. I know. Come on over. But hold on. Let me fix COVID first. I told you I'm working on it. Okay, stop. Don't rush me. I'm working on it.
I won't.
Jeez. So let's talk about the TikTok, because the TikTok has been quite the game changer for a lot of us. And obviously that's how you and I met. And now you're at a point. How many followers do you have now? Like 100,000 something?
I have, the last time I checked, I had 129,000.
29,000. Whatever. No, that's good. No, that's great. But here's the thing. I told you this before. One of the reasons why people gravitate towards you is because like you are very personable, and you're very kind, and you are a genuine soul, on that platform. Where I mean, let's be real. There's not a lot of genuine souls on that platform. And it's not like
dances.
Yeah, but you're not putting on a performance. It's just like you being you and telling your story and answering people's questions and things like that. So like, there's a reason that you have the following that you have. How has TikTok changed your life over the last couple of months?
Wow. Well, I feel like I have a responsibility to 129,000 people now that I didn't have before. So that's a lot. That's a little bit of pressure. No big deal.
Yeah.
It honestly, it has allowed me to do something that I've always wanted to do. And so when I was going through this with my husband and with my with just at the time Diego, my child, I had an amazing support system. My family was amazing. I had an incredible best friend right next to my side the entire time. But a lot of the times it felt really, really isolating, because you're when you have a family member that's in the United States, and without documentation, so undocumented, you live basically under a shadow. It's something that you don't get to talk to people about. You don't ever get to talk to people about the fear of not knowing whether or not your significant other is going to come home from work. And you worry every day. You worry when your phone rings. And so when I was going through it and I was trying to navigate through things, I remember, trying to search for support groups and for other women that were in my situation, or just families that were in my situation. And I remember thinking, nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about it. And all I wanted to do was talk to another person that could understand what I was feeling. And so I told my husband numerous times, I want to find a platform where I can talk to people about this, where I, can bring this out of the shadows, because I think it's important for people to see, the families that are affected by what's going on with the immigration system. And and how, you know, we navigate through it. And for those families to know that they're not by themselves, that they have support, and there's a whole community of us. There's so many of us. And so when I got on TikTok, I first did a Amy Schumer voiceover because she's one of my favorite people. And then I just made a video where I just told the world, you know, my name's Candice. My husband was deported and now I live in Mexico. I'm gonna, you know, give you a bunch of TikToks about what it's like in Mexico. And it blew up. And what I found was the overwhelming amount of people who can relate to my situation or who are in my situation. And there are so many things that they don't know and that they can't find answers to that I know, because I've had to go through it. I've had to do all that legwork on it. And so it's given me a chance to help these people, but it also has given me a chance to show the world that what you see on the news about Mexico and, you know, them only showing you violence that happens here, because that's all you ever see. It's given me an opportunity to show people that that's not what Mexico is. It's an entire country full of incredible people that are focused on family, and just beauty everywhere, and amazing food, and all of these things that Mexico has to offer that I don't think anybody gets to ever see. As you tell your story on these platforms, both on TikTok and on Instagram, do you hear back from people that are in similar situations, or are currently going through the same thing that you went through, or did in the past? Do you hear back from a lot of people like that? I do. So one of the hardest things that I do on TikTok is I encourage everybody to DM me or email me. I set up an email address for it. And I encourage them to, you know, reach out, let me know if you have questions. And, it's been really overwhelming because I will wake up to at least 50 new messages a day.
Wow.
Across those, and that's Instagram, my email, and TikTok. And so I go through and I try to answer all of these, and I'm currently like 3 weeks behind on these messages because there's a lot. So it's overwhelming to know how many people are in a similar situation or at any point in this process. It's overwhelming to know that, but it's also, it's hard for me to go through those stories because I feel like I read those stories and I get taken right back to that day when I got that phone call about my husband. And that opens up a whole door of emotions. And so it's a little emotionally draining for me. So I constantly have to take breaks and, you know, continue to check in on myself because I can't pour from an empty glass is what
I totally get that. And it's funny you say that because when I told you that I interviewed Liquid Shano earlier today, and we were talking about the pressure of people like us that have decided to take on this responsibility of, you know, spreading messages and kindness and motivation and good vibes and advice, this kind of stuff. There is a pressure that we knowingly take on when we decide to live a life like this. And like it is fulfilling for sure when like you learn how you've affected people. But to your point, I mean, it can be tough sometimes to tell your story, to listen to other people, because sometimes it can be really sad, you know, and I totally get that. So I guess to that point, is there something that you like normally tell people when they reach out to you and they say, hey, I'm going through something similar to what you went through or going through? Is there something that you generally tell them to kind of lift their spirits, or to let them know, hey, this is what's going to happen now?
Absolutely. For me, I like to remind them, when I first started this, I tried to think of what would have helped me to hear when I was in that. And I'm going to do this without crying. I was like, I'm going to make it through this whole interview without crying.
Yes. If you need some.
Thank you.
Yeah, no.
Thank you. No, so I tried to think of what I would tell myself if I could go back and talk to me back then. And one of the biggest things for me is there were a lot of times when it incredibly impossible to even get out of bed and to continue to go. And so what I like to tell them is, listen, what you're going through isn't fair. And it's unfortunate that you and your family have to endure something like this. But what I can tell you is that even though it doesn't feel like it right now, there is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Whatever it is for you, it will be there. And so you have to just keep getting up. You have to keep pushing forward, and you have to keep going, because life is going to knock you down. It's going to hurt and it's unfair, but you have to continue to fight, because your family needs you and you need to keep going, because you know, I had days where I, you know, felt like it was going to be the end of the world, and that I just couldn't keep doing it. And had any of those days won in that sense, had that one at any point, I wouldn't have the incredible life that I have now. And so I tell them, you decide what you're going to do for your family, and then you go out and you get it, and you don't let, you know, if you get knocked down, that's okay. Take a minute, you know, feel your emotions, go through all of that, but get back up and keep fighting, because you deserve it and your family deserves it.
I applaud you, and I like, because I know that this isn't easy, you know, like this is really, really hard. I can't even remotely imagine the emotions, not just back then, but like even to this day, I'm sure you think about when you have to revisit, you know.
I can't talk about it without getting, getting emotional.
I applaud you, because you have decided to take your story and use it as a platform to help motivate other people, and to help guide other people as they navigate, you know, similar circumstances. And then on top of that, even if somebody isn't necessarily in that circumstance, they're able to take, you know, this world that you live in and find ways to apply it to themselves as well. You know, like even for somebody like me, like I have never been in that situation, right? But the perseverance, the dedication, the responsibility that you take on every day, you know, to tell this story, and to be family driven, and like that kind of stuff, it like means a lot, and it goes a long way. So like I think that's one of the reasons why I connected to you, because like I was like, she is so genuine. She is so genuine.
I mean, I feel like if you're going to put your story out there, especially with what I'm doing, you just have to do it, the good and the bad. You have to, you know, just fully be out there. And because, you know, this is such a hard thing for people to talk about. And that's all I want them to do, is I want them to talk about it. I want people to know that this is what our families go through. I want them to know that the immigration system as you see it is not black and white. It's these are real families, these are real people. And I want, you know, one of my least favorite stigmas in it is when somebody assumes that my husband is a criminal. It's one of my least favorite stigmas that comes along with this. And so I think that one of the things that I've got to do with my platform is I've got to, you know, show my husband, and he's an incredible father, and he works. He's one of the hardest workers that I've ever known, next to my mother. And because, you know, she's my mom. But I've got to normalize him. You know, he's a normal person who, you know, he went to the United States because he grew up in a household that was so poor that all he wanted to do was help his parents. You know, he saw his dad working day in and day out, and he just wanted his dad to be able to take a break, you know, and not worry that they weren't going to get fed. And so I think for me, it's important to normalize this and break that stigma of you know, viewing these people who have went to the United States in this way. You know, it's important to make sure that they're not viewed as criminals, because they're not. They're just normal people who are incredible and hard workers. They you know, everybody has their reasons.
And to a point that you alluded to earlier, what doesn't help, and I I always have to stop myself from getting too political because I don't ever want to do that. But it's sad that, you know, from a political standpoint and even a media standpoint, that adds to that stigma, that adds to this fear, that adds to these awful, just made up things and conspiracy theories that are awful. And to your point, like, these are human beings that we always have to, like, I feel like we forget that sometimes. Like, these are human beings that are trying to do what's best for their family and for themselves, and at times survive. So just literally survive. To get food on their table, to get food in general, to put a roof over their head, to take their life to a level where they're able to take care of themselves and the people that are around them. And if there's one thing I've been very disappointed in over the last 3 years, I say 3 years very specifically here, but there is a certain tribalism that is very disappointing to watch. Not saying that tribalism wasn't a thing beforehand, but now a lot of people are governed by tribalism and this fear mongering from both the media and the government, and it's just disappointing to watch sometimes. And I applaud you for continuing to fight your fight and to tell your story, because it's stuff like this that is really, really important, and it should be amplified, because then hopefully people will realize, like, hey, this isn't, you know, some, like, a person from Mexico or from Syria or from wherever where people might be coming from. These are human beings. Just because they don't speak your language, just because they don't have the
States doesn't have an official language.
Right, it doesn't. It does not. And people, like,
doesn't speak English.
Right, like, I'll never understand this. Like, just because they didn't grow up where you grew up, or have the same, you know, whatever as you, like, that doesn't mean that they are less than you.
Right. And there's a need to have a fear of the unknown, right? I think that's what happens to a lot of people is because they don't know something or they don't understand something, they fear it. And, you know, that's definitely the case even with Mexico. There are a lot of people that are like, well, aren't you afraid? Like, can you even go out of your house? And I'm like, of course I can go out of my house. Right. You know, there are bad things and bad people all over the world. I grew up in a small town in Utah, in rural Utah. And there were bad things that happened in my little tiny town. You know, it's everywhere. You, of course, have to be smart about it. But it's not, that's not all that Mexico is. And I want people to see that. I want, you know, I want to normalize it.
Absolutely. I'm so happy that we got to sit and chat, because I think this was long overdue.
I agree.
It was long overdue. Well, I mean, that was also, like, mostly my fault, because I asked to talk with you like a month ago.
You were supposed to write me a bio.
I know.
And I sent you my email, and then I may have sat by my email like a little fangirl. Like, email soon.
I'll never forget that day, because I think that day I had promised, like, a couple people to write their bios, because I would go on your page, like, during a live, and I would see, okay, who's this person that's talking right now, and then I saw, like, there was no bio written. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna write your bio. But in my defense, I think at that time I had maybe like 5,000 followers or something like it.
No, you had more than that, because I remember doing a video with you in the very beginning of my TikTok. Because it was like, what did it say? Oh, take a screenshot of your favorite TikToker. You know, somebody make you smile. And I remember doing you, and you had 19,000 followers at that point. And I was like, I probably will never ever get to talk to Kai, but but all I remember thinking the first time that I saw a video of yours, I think you were just smiling at the camera. Let's be honest. And
typical me.
I remember thinking. Yeah, I remember thinking, what an incredible way to use your platform to just be positive and you know, get people to smile and to, you know, make sure that they're having a good day. I was like, that's an incredible way to use a platform if you're going to do it. And so I was like, I'm following him, and I liked every single one of your videos, probably spam liked a little bit, and then I did that, and you just continue to get bigger and bigger, and I've loved to see it, because it just, and your lives are amazing. I love
it, man. I love it.
I turned lives on just so I can listen to you talk and the music. That's about it.
That's the best. That's probably my favorite part, is just being able to interact with people, like just live and in person. Cause like that's always the best part. And like I've met some like legitimate friends, you know, from this, like to the point where like once the world isn't on fire anymore, I'm like, I'm going to go visit this person. I'm going to go visit this person. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to Mexico. Like I'm like, I have all of these plans to do like this like Vibe with Kai world tour to go visit these people.
I am. So one of the best things that ever happens on my content is people will say, you're invited to all of the carne asadas. Now, if you have ever been around a Hispanic family, getting invited to the carne asada is one of the highest honors in my book. Yes, absolutely.
Is it like with black people saying you're invited to the cookout?
Yes.
Is it like the same thing?
Exactly
Yes.
what it is. Yes. And so I've told my followers, like, be careful, because when I come to the States, I'm going to have a map of carne asadas, and I'm just going to come and be at everybody's carne asada, but I can just meet everybody.
So here's my ignorance. I thought carne asada was a thing at Taco Bell. Once again, I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Oh,
well, it is specifically a meat, a very thin meat, right? A beef that is grilled a certain way. Okay. However, we call the cookout here carne asada, right?
Got it. Yeah. Are there Taco Bells in Mexico? That might be the dumbest question I ever asked, but I'm curious.
No, it's not a dumb question, but there are none. There are none here. No, not that I have seen. I don't know. I could be wrong. There could be some in other parts of Mexico, but they're not where I am. Not at all.
So, you sure that Taco Bell isn't authentic? You're positive?
I promise you. And what it does to your stomach is also not authentic.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. I don't even eat that much fast food anymore. But I remember when I was in college, I would go to Taco Bell all the time because it was always open late. It was like the only thing that was open. So like at 1 o'clock in the morning when you go out partying at some dorm, and like everything's closed, and like, well, we got to eat something. So we would go to Taco Bell and hang out in the parking lot and have our carne asada.
Mine was Del Taco, the chicken tacos.
I've heard of Del Taco. I never had it though.
They are amazing.
Are they authentic?
Also not authentic. No.
Okay. All right. Whatever. I guess I'll just have to come down there to the carne asada.
I can tell you that I've never had a crunchy, like a hard shell taco in Mexico ever.
I don't like hard shell tacos. I like soft. I like soft. Soft
okay. Yeah. Mm. They do taco dorados where they will close the taco with like pork and chilies and stuff in the inside, and then they'll deep fry that. That's as close as I've gotten to a hard shell taco here.
I'm in. So, I'm on my way.
You really have to come down.
I'm on my way right now. Let's go. Have it ready. I'll be there in 20 minutes.
Got it. All right. I'll be waiting.
Oh my gosh. I'm so happy that we got to sit and talk, Candice. Honestly, thank you so much. If people want more Candice, if they want more La Huerita 70.
Oh, very close. La Huerita.
La Huerita 70. If they want more of you, where can they go?
Well, you can follow me on TikTok at La Huerita 70. And you're gonna put it on the screen, right?
It's gonna be right down there.
When you hear me say it. Okay, so you can follow me there. You can also follow me on Instagram at _ I always do this and I don't know why, but _ La Huerita 70. Or I'm on YouTube at La Huerita 70. So
I'll put it all down there, and people can. So go follow her. You're not gonna regret this. And if you want more me, you can follow.
Definitely make sure that you follow Kai. I push all of my followers. Yeah, I'm like, go follow Kai.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'll never forget. Anytime I come onto your live, you always give some love, and I always appreciate that. Yes. Like honestly, it means a lot.
I like to call out creators that I admire and that I think are doing great things with their platforms.
Well, so I appreciate that. Honestly, if you want more me, the Cowboys fan. If you don't want to follow an Eagles fan, you want to follow a Cowboys fan.
Now, let's not make that the determining factor.
That's true. Let's not do that.
I never talk about the Eagles on my.
Fine, we'll call a truce when it comes to this. But on the football field, however,
it's a truce until Gia gets back.
That's okay. That's yeah. I have no idea. I don't know if she's. I don't even. She might be here. I have no idea. But anyway, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Vibe with Kai, and you can follow me on Snapchat and TikTok if it still exists by the time this airs at Kyrus Keenan, and visit my website thevibewithkai.com. I hope it's still here. Who knows? At this point, I have no idea. Visit my website thevibewithkai.com, where you can get your blogs and your videos and stuff that'll make you do good, feel good, be good, and live a good life full of good vibes. Candice La Verita, 70. I love you. I'm so happy that we got to do this.
I love you too so much.
Wow. Everybody else, good vibes. Yay. Oh.